College sports bring excitement and community to many campuses across the nation. But do the big men on campus receive preferential treatment in classrooms?
You can't treat a student differently, period. It's an NCAA violation. So I think it's more perception. Now, what goes on underground, I can't say.
And what goes on underground is exactly what has people talking.
It was last fall when Harvard first confirmed the cheating scandal. Well, today, in a campus-wide email, the Ivy League school is acknowledging dropping the hammer on those involved.
The school held a news conference and said it learned of possible academic misconduct involving a former undergraduate tutor and student athletes on the football team.
At Boston University, there are also a few extra services for student athletes.
We have academic, I guess you could say, coaches that oversee their academic progression here on campus. I know I would love to have an academic coach, but that's just not something that the average student is afforded.
Phil DiCarlo, the Boston University Athletic Department advisor, serves as a second advisor solely for varsity athletes. And an average meeting covers more than just graduation requirements.
We know who their faculty members are, we know when their exams are, we know when their papers are due, and we would just talk about that. You know, we see you have an exam coming up, you're going to be traveling this week, how are you going to study for that exam, how is your preparation going? You know, those types of things we talk about. If they're struggling in a course, we'll certainly get them help, whether it's tutoring or some other type of assistance on campus.
And at no extra charge, tutors are available at Student Athlete Services. Hannah Matticue, one of the tutors, says she meets with some athletes as much as once or twice a week.
A lot of times I'll help them go through reading and outline the specific important points, or we outline a paper together so that they just understand like form of a paper, or I edit paper.
Though many student athletes frequent this center, they are also able to find help in the classroom.
The professors have an understanding of and appreciation of what a Division I athlete's life is like. So they're willing to work with them and be as flexible as they can.
The College of General Studies, a two-year college that places students into their school of choice upon completion of a core program, is known for supporting its student-athlete population. CGS divides its students into teams of about 100 students each, and these teams share the same schedule of classes and the same professors. Because of their practice schedules, athletes are often placed on the same teams.
When I was in CGS, most of the people in my class were athletes. You know, some people were like regular students, as to say.
Thomas found his professors in CGS to be very accommodating.
They kind of tell us what's on the test. They don't give us a study guide. It's up to us to make our own study guides, but you know, they tell us what's on the test. They help us a lot because sometimes, as I said, we can't make it to class. So, you know, we go to like office hours, or they make up their own office hours and teach us like how they would in class.
But not all CGS students had the same experience. Alex Shadrow, a CGS graduate who is not involved in athletics, says that when it came to midterms and finals, she often compared her study guides to those of the students on the, quote, athlete teams.
When I was looking at it, I was actually kind of confused because I was like, really? They're going to ask about this question? But I remember like when I was on the test, I was like, oh, they did ask that question. Like we never even went over that in my class.
The discrepancies between teams are what have the average student population at CGS talking.
I really remember there just being really athlete-heavy teams and everyone wanting to be on that team because supposedly it was easier. It was just like, if you're on the athlete team, you got lucky.
Despite the scheduling, Godnick says that CGS is doing their best to get rid of the athlete-heavy teams.
We changed a couple of our schedules so it would disperse the athletes a little bit more, because it was just getting a little bit heavy, and there was an energy. They all knew each other because they're a club essentially, and so we wanted to split them so that they would get to know other people.
And it goes both ways. Sometimes student athletes feel that others on campus view them as different. Jake Moscatel, a Boston University senior, was pulled onto the varsity team from the BU club hockey team.
remember last year when I joined the team, a bunch of my friends thought that I was going to stop hanging out with them. I was like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, you joined the varsity team. I was like, we're still friends, right?
Moscatel is aware of the stereotypes associated with student athletes.
You know, maybe I fall into, you know, the category, you know, I got long hair, I'm wearing a backwards fitted, or backwards snapback hat. I mean, I guess I like look like a stereotypical hockey player, but I mean, in terms of like the way that we act, I think we kind of keep to ourselves and people kind of just make assumptions from that.
After the 2012 BU hockey scandal, in which 2 players were accused of sexual assault, the university is working to better integrate its student athletes with the, quote, regular population to avoid creating a sense of entitlement among athletes on campus. McCoy points to American culture as a possible cause of this social divide.
I think it's a greater problem of how we treat athletes in this nation. You look at how we treat football players in the NFL or basketball players, professional athletes, college athletes. They're always on television for something. They're always glorified for their gifts and talents, but they're set apart.
There's no doubt that student athletes are an asset to colleges and universities, but when does additional academic support become an accommodation for success? That's the question that leaders at institutions across America have to be able to answer. For BUTV 10, I'm Alexa Dragoumis.